Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a really amazing, phenomenal person that I am absolutely thrilled to introduce to you, and a brand new program that I think is going to absolutely revolutionize the face of entrepreneurs and people with small businesses, big businesses, and people who are looking to get their messages out into the world. Today we have with us Erica Glessing. Absolutely phenomenal. She has published over 5,000 articles in the last 10 years as a professional journalist. She's won awards when she's worked for major metropolitan papers, including the Sacramento Bee. She's been a guest on dozens of television programs and wrote a weekly education good news column for the Bay Area News Group, and ran in 14 San Francisco Bay Area newspapers, including the San Jose Mercury News and the Contra Costa Times from 2008 to 2011. And presently, she's the CEO of Happy Publishing. She publishes books on consciousness, happiness, joy, expansion, real estate, and she was born into a TV print news family. She was the director of public relations for San Jose in California for a public television station in the 1990s. And I know from personal experience, Erica is absolutely someone who's phenomenal to create with. She's fun to be with. And I'm excited to invite you and introduce you to her laughter and her irreverent approach and her revolutionary, possibly, approach to connecting with the media. So thank you so much for being here, Erica.
Oh, it's so much fun, Melanie. I love co-creating in this space of just asking ourselves what might be possible and how can consciousness expand, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you have this really cool program that you've just created called Meet the Media. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
I was sitting there just getting connected with what it feels like when good news stories land in the media. And I personally come from, as you mentioned, a media family. So we read Time magazine. I think we had 6 newspapers in our house every morning. So we had the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, I think the Palo Alto Weekly Review or something, the Palo Alto Daily, and the San Francisco Chronicle. And San Jose wasn't really happening yet when I was a little girl. And so we would all look at the papers, and then my dad would open up the pages and criticize every headline. And say, this should really have an active verb in it. And I'm sure like most people didn't have that kind of family environment.
So what do you think having that exposure to the media that way? And one of the things I noticed when you say that is that your dad was really engaged in it. I think so many people open the paper and they just sort of absorb the media that's there. And it sounds like he had a really different approach to looking at media, interacting with media, had a different kind of relationship with it. How did that impact and affect you as a journalist?
Well, it was funny because when I graduated from college, I was like trying to figure out what to do with my psychology degree from the University of California. And my mom's like, why don't you become a news reporter? Because you'll learn about so many different things and you'll write about so many different things and you'll really get to have a good basis for lots and lots of different careers that you could have in the future. And my mom was actually a very good thinker, and that was a great career for me. So I just kind of jumped right in as a news reporter. It's a nose for the news. And what I'm interested in teaching Meet the Media is really just getting rid of all the mystification and just saying, what could we do as entrepreneurs, as women and men, creating positive stories in the world to bridge that gap so the media can understand our stories. It's kind of like, speaking French in France or, studying Spanish before you go to Spain. It's just kind of a nice thing to learn the media language before you talk to them. So then, and I say them because I'm like media, so I'm like media, not media. So yeah, my class came out of that burning desire to have more consciousness on the planet.
Wow. That's a really different kind of conversation, isn't it? Someone, who comes from a media background, a television background, who also would like to bring consciousness into the world. And I think there are so many different, what is that? What, can you show that again and tell us what that is? It's gold and it's sparkly. I like it.
I know, right? Bright, shiny thing. I love it when, well, I'm personally ADD. I can't speak for everyone. But this is an Emmy Award that my mom won for building a documentary on KQED public television. And I was a little girl and I got to, I mean, I wasn't on all of it, but I got to be on the set of KQED quite a bit. And then my mom built TV shows. So I would listen to her talk. Oh, I remember she was running around the house one time. She used to run up and down the stairs. She didn't like running like out in public. She would run up and down. She would run around the house. Seriously, like jog up and down the house. My mom did that. Yeah. So she goes, Erica. And I think I was like 11. I've got an idea. Okay, Mom. And she wanted to build a show that was a new show for women, by women, about women issues that wasn't a soap opera.
Oh,
and
wow.
this was not being done. This daytime TV was soap operas. There was no Oprah. It had not happened yet. And she was so excited. And I'm like, okay, Mom, sounds like fun. I was trying to figure out in my 11-year-old brain, like, would my friends like that?
Right.
She goes, like, we're going to talk about insurance. I go, oh, okay, Mom. Like whatever, right? And so she brought in Jerry Lang, who was the mom of Ted Lang. He was on Love Boat.
Okay.
So brought in that. She had a great team of writers that she knew, all her friends in public television she knew. She brought in. They called it A Woman Time, which became Turnabout, and that won an Emmy for her. And it was at that point, it was just an idea. She was just like, what if we had something different on daytime TV for women? And now, of course, daytime TV has completely revolutionized and has plenty of educational, interesting programs for women. So.
Well, that's really interesting. From listening to you tell that story, I really get a bigger picture of the scope of interaction with the media, from actually watching an idea be birthed, and then the process of actually bringing that into the world, actually getting it on television, actually, getting it out to share your idea with the world. And I know this is something you've talked about with the publishing company that you have, is this passion and this enthusiasm for getting people's messages that are really going to change the world, and take it through the full process and actually get it out to the world. Now, I know for myself, this, I've had my own business for a couple of years now. I have really never considered the media. I've always thought of it as something for other people and not for myself.
Right.
Which in some of the conversations that you and I have had, it's been, you're just such an incredible wealth of knowledge. And it's like you come from the living experience of meeting, and working with the media. And even meet the media, it's such a meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess, I should just jump into my class, because, this is just, it came out of that brainstorm that we were having as we were discussing how could we change the world. And so one of the things that I'd like to teach people, and so I built an 8-week course, and one is, how do you become a media go-to person? And so basically a lot of the TV, both print, radio, and print radio, TV, and even like the blog talk radio, they'll have guests lined up. And then often those guests will flake. So it's Friday afternoon, it's 2:30, and your guest is stuck in some bridge or couldn't get off the plane. Something happened, and they got to replace the guest. Who do they call? They call what I call their go-to person. So wouldn't it be nice if you were on a go-to list of a couple of different places where they did stuff that they liked you, that you were interesting to them? So there was a show called, it was actually real estate. But he had me as a happiness coach, and he liked having his final segment be something light, fun, and easy, and help people inspire them and have nothing to do with real estate. So he had me on one time as a happiness expert, and I talked about happiness and joy and getting there. And then he just started having me, like, whenever any guest would like not come in, I was on his like cell phone, and it'd be like 2:30 on a Friday, and it would be Dan, and he'd say, Erica, can you be here at the station by 3:30 because we need you now? And I'd be like, oh my God, my hair, my clothes, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm not ready. But I would always go, because once you're on a Rolodex, basically you become someone they can go to. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so in week 2, I'm actually going to really walk through people how to become the go-to person. And you know what's really fun about the media class that I teach is I really take it into these steps where you're not going to feel threatened. You're not going to feel scared of the big bad media coming to get you, like, and so as soon as we start talking, everything starts coming in. So why don't you ask another question? Because I'm just flooded with my whole class. You can go there right now and see what it is.
I've got it in front of me right now. When you sent this to me, Erica, I'm speechless. I was really blown away. One of the things I'm really blown away by is the depth and the breadth of what it is that you're offering here in this program. I know for me, just even looking at some of the language, press release, media, spin, coverage, go-to person, platform, message, these have all been kind of hot words. And things I think that I've really avoided for some time, and partly it's just not having the information. So I'm just so grateful for the incredible generosity that you have with gifting us so much of the brilliance that you have with media. So is this a program where people can actually join who have absolutely no media experience? Like, who is this program really designed for?
Well, I would like someone who is feeling the need to get bigger with themselves. So if you're feeling this pokey feeling of pushing out, like there's more people you'd like to reach, there's more people you'd like to share your message with, and you keep not knowing how. The media is a great way to have the message reach more people. So if you've got a message that you like to share, I would say certainly if you're into access consciousness, or if you're interested in any of the sort of self-help topics that I like to have published about, that's really awesome. There's one tool that I'd like to give you right now. Is
Wonderful.
That okay?
All right, we're ready.
Yeah, we're going to do a tool because this is a very practical tool. And this means if you don't go to my class and you don't go to my website and you don't do anything else, this tool could shift. So I'd like you just to sit there and be open to this download that I received. And what I was shown was, in having a platform, which is a big, scary word, in having something that you stand for, in having something that you can be dependent upon to speak about, this is a gift that opens everything up so that we don't see it as a limiting of, I can only speak about this for the rest of my life, right? Which feels awful. If I say, I'm Erica Glessing, I really believe that we can shift into happiness, and I really believe in self-expression. It doesn't mean I don't do anything else. It doesn't mean I walk around every day, I do self-expression, to the exclusion of every other thing I ever want to teach. But when you have something that media can come to you for, okay?
Yes.
It allows for more freedom to express yourself in a bigger way. Because once people start learning one thing from you, oh my gosh, they want to come back. So I think about one of the access people I've learned from, Corey Michelle. So she'll teach one thing, and then she'll teach the next thing. And now I'm just so excited to learn from Corey Michelle. I don't even care. What's her free class? I'm going. I have no idea what she's going to say. But in the beginning, there was some message that brought me in. And so by honing your messages, by having some things to say. So for me, it's like, and I'm just making this up because I haven't actually done this yet for me very much, but the self-expression piece, the throat chakra, that blue energy for me, when I awaken that in someone else, Melanie, when I publish someone who gets to write in a book, for instance, like that gives me more joy than anything else. So as you're getting this feeling of what are my key messages and what's my platform, that's really the first class. But can you feel the space of it now? How does it feel now? Does it still feel kind of crunchy, or does it feel a little bit more open?
Well, it definitely feels more open, I think. One of the things that really popped for me when you were talking was I've had the point of view, and I know it's shared by many people, that if I choose a message and I choose a platform, then I'm sort of stuck with it. It's something that can't be changed. So I think for me, that was the most important thing that popped, that it created more ease in my world. I went, oh, I can actually have a message right now. I can actually have a platform, right now for this moment, for these few things. And then
change it in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Do something new in 2 weeks. It's okay.
And, I think that's one of the things that makes your program different than other programs that are out there. Because, one of the things people are teaching when it comes to being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, and having your message is that you need to keep that message. You need to brand yourself in such a way, and it seems less flexible, that there's an inflexibility there, that you have to choose who you are and stay that way. And that's something for a creator like myself who's changing constantly. That was something that seemed very daunting, and it put me into the space of total resistance. So as you're talking in the energy and the point of view that you're coming from with this, it changes it completely.
Well, and you want to look at here's something that I really think is interesting. One of the people I follow on social media is Gary Vaynerchuk, and one of our weeks, week 7, is how to tap into social media as an extension of your media, how to make sure you're using both social media and media in alignment and together to grow your platform and to grow your messages to the world. And so a couple different things that he shares that are, I feel, brilliant. And one of them is just really listening to like tailoring your messages for different audiences. Fine. Okay. The other thing that I feel like is so important is aligning yourself with journalists who are of like mind with you. And so if you, when I was in public television, every month I would share new shows that came out.
You would share new shows that came out.
Right. So I had a group of journalists, and then I would share the new shows that would come out every month. So I would do press releases around all the different things, and I'd send them all this stuff. And I nourished the journalists. They were so happy. I gave them all this yummy food. I gave them pictures. I gave them stories. I always looked to like, was there any angle in their town that I could like pull up? And I always looked to like, was there anything specifically interesting? Like one guy loved the Beatles, Steve Marinucci, and I sent stuff to him for a couple years when I was doing PR for KTH TV, and we stayed friends for 17 years after that.
Wow.
But we created that relationship.
Well, that's exactly what was really popping for me right there. It sounds like this is also something that's very social, in that you're really creating relationships, which is a really different point of view that I think that I've had. So
and more isn't better. More is not better.
well, more isn't better, but I never considered the possibility of actually having a personal relationship. I've never thought of the media as people.
Gosh.
And I think that's
Oh
probably
my
pretty common.
God.
I mean, you were the media, so you have a very different perspective, but the media has always seemed like this far off thing. But listening to you talk, you really take it and you're making it very personal and like, oh, that's right, individual people make up the media.
Can I tell you a funny story?
Yes.
So one time I was in Santa Barbara working for the paper, and Michael Jackson was going to the circus, and so me and about, I don't know, 400 or 500 other media went to go cover it, and so there was media from all over the world, and I was this little reporter in my 20s in Santa Barbara, and so I was wearing blue jeans, and I don't remember what top, and again, I'm in my early 20s. And so I take my notebook, which is this long notebook that journalists used to carry,
Uh-huh.
and I just stuck it in my pocket, and I got mistaken for Michael Jackson's entourage. And so
Oh, I love it.
so I got to go up and sit next to him in the stands and sit right next to him while he was watching the circus. And so I was like, and they never recognized that he never even noticed that I wasn't part of his entourage. And so my photographer was so jealous because he was out there with the pack taking pictures, snapping pictures, and I was like right next to him, which we didn't have these then, but I would have definitely taken a picture of me with Michael.
No, there really weren't selfies during those times, were there?
It was really fun. And then another time, so that was a really fun story as a news reporter. Another time I got to interview Jay Leno.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh.
How fun.
This man had me in stitches. He is telling. So I asked him the question, and this was before he was on the Tonight Show. This is a long time ago. This is a young Jay Leno. And I go, Jay, what makes you laugh? Oh my gosh. He tells me the story about his dad and how his dad kept receipts on things. So he kept receipt on a toilet for 20 years. In 19 years and 11 months, the toilet broke, and his dad had the receipt and brought it in and got a free toilet.
Oh my goodness.
He's telling me this story, and I'm just like sitting there, and I'm just hysterical in the newsroom. Like, he was so funny then, right? It was like before he was anyone. He was hysterical. And I just got to I would just sort of sneak my way into meeting all these really interesting people and come up with one of the things that I teach people how to do. And this is really also fun to think about is what possible stories could you tell today?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much today. Like, what stories do you want to tell today? So it takes out, that calculation that you kind of talked about where I'm supposed to have a platform, it's supposed to all fit, it's supposed to all be key messages, it's supposed to be this. Oh my gosh. What if you could wake up and just look at everything that's going on and say, what contribution could I be today? Could I help people appreciate their bodies today? Could I tell people, my goodness, it's spring? Are you smelling the flowers? What do you do about allergies? How do you listen to your body more? I mean, the messages you want to tell, Melanie, it's not really the messages anyone else wants to tell. Or it could be animal communication. Hey, do you know when the weather turns, your horses, they have different needs. They got to look at the blanket. Are you taking it off? You could do little columns about fun things. So you want to kind of step out of that hat of it's all. What someone said to me, the first thing they said to me when I said I was teaching a class on media, they're like, oh, that's so hard.
You're like, not for me.
Everyone says, it's like,
yeah.
Really? Oh, that's hard.
Well, and that's why I'm so grateful that you're choosing to actually put this out there, because you are with it so different. You have such a different point of view, and to have someone who has the lightness and the spaciousness and the level of ease that you have with media, you really gift that to every person who chooses to be part of this program or have the pleasure of having a conversation with you. But something that I was noticing as you were talking that's also how you're quite different with the media is that what I'm hearing is that you're just really being you. You're showing up. You're not trying to be someone different. You're not trying to show up and be what the media expects you to be or what you think you have to be. You're really showing up and you're being Erica Glessing. And that's created magic. And there you are sitting next to Michael Jackson. There you are with Jay Leno. And you're really just being yourself.
Well, there's a being yourself, but I also do teach. I also do teach certain colors. You would wear more makeup than I'm wearing right now. So there are some things that I do teach for TV that the color you're wearing is perfect. You don't want to wear plaids. You don't want to wear, because they will make the camera go goofy. So it's true.
Wow, you're even gonna be able to give us tips on like the aesthetics of being in front of a camera on television.
Oh, definitely. Because honestly, here's the thing. One of my friends got a contract with a book publishing company, and then they gave her media hits. Okay. They didn't give her any media training.
Wow.
They didn't give her any information about how to do a radio interview. They just threw interviews at her, but she was never taught steps she could take to have those just really blow up so she could have more.
Wow, this, like I'm really getting the sense as you're talking about that is, that this 8-week teleclass, it's like you're really taking people under your wing and going, hey, you know what? It's okay. I know it can be kind of scary. I know you don't know what to do, but I've got the information and I am so happy to share it with you. Because you actually are coming from a place where you actually want to see people, get out of the nest and fly.
Yeah. And this particular class, you can come at any level and calibration. So you can already have gotten a lot of media and you want to just take it a step up. Most of my classes, what I do like having different levels in the class. I don't like all beginners or all advanced or all middle. I honestly love the different levels of exposure. I'm guessing I'll attract more newbies, because that's what this class is kind of will make sure it does. But if you've already gotten some media and you just want to hone in on where you already are and where you want to be, we can do that too. And then the people who are learning will enjoy being part of the journey of those others who are already doing some media. Maybe they're already hosting a radio show and then they want more exposure for having that radio show. Maybe they're already on TV, but they want to see, why aren't they hitting national? Why are they stuck in, the cable channel for their community, which I still like cable channel for my community. I love that. So,
so Erica, is this a teleclass? Is this going to be video? What?
I know. So I keep playing with that. Right now, it appears that it will be much like this, like a Google Hangout, and I'll let people be on up to 10. If we get big, then people will have to view and ask questions. And then if we get bigger than that, I'll add a phone teleseminar component. So we'll start with Google Hangout like this, and then if we get big, then we'll open it up bigger and have a phone line for people. I got very addicted to Google Hangout lately because it has my visual on it. And sometimes I can show things like books and I can show newspaper articles and I can hold things up, and that gives me a lot of joy. I'm not big on PowerPoint presentations, so you're not going to be seeing a lot of stuff like that. Also, I love original problems. I love that. So if people want to show up with some issues, that is a great class for breaking through. What do I say? So that feels really good. I think we've kind of covered it. We're going to do key messages, how to become a go-to person. We're going to talk about manipulation and spin. We're going to talk, that sounds really juicy. We're going to talk about services that distribute your media for you, because I use services to distribute my media for me a lot of times. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how hungry the media is for your stories. So we're going to flip it around a little bit from you being hungry for coverage and switch it to them being hungry for stories, and how we can see ourselves feeding them with grace versus that. So instead of going up, we want to kind of like feed and nourish energy of that. If we want to take media somewhere, it's a good idea to look at what do they want. What are they hungry for? So what can I feed them? And then we'll do a little bit of social media just to touch on it. It's not going to be a social media class, but I'm certainly finding with Twitter, it's the new press release. So Twitter is where everyone goes for news. And so you want to hang out on Twitter if you want to do any media things at all. And then we'll do just a whole week on if you have a book launch or you have and I'm sorry, I didn't have your book right in front of me. Where's your book? I had someone clean yesterday and they moved everything around. Let me find your book real quick. Why don't you say something nice to everybody and I'm going to find it.
All right, I will. Well, I don't know about all of you, but I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm going to be signing up for this class. And I know 2 other people that I just mentioned it to this morning that are signing up as well. It's something that I know I've been asking for, and it's something that I know a lot of people, in my life who have a message, who would really like to get their voices out into the world, who are actually willing to step in and be an authority. And in order to be an authority, being published in books and getting it out into the media is just something that is required. And I'm so excited that you're putting this out here, Erica, and giving us the information that we require and how to create those connections and those relationships that are really going to be able to launch us out into the world and make the difference that each one of us has been really seeking and desiring to be.
Yeah, and I'm going to get you in the Santa Barbara paper.
Yay! And there's the book.
And this is Melanie Clampit's book, so I just want to show her beautiful face right here. And she has a beautiful chapter, and she talks about expansion. So I'm so joyful that you were available today to introduce people to my Meet the Media class. You can go to ericaglessing.com/meet-the.media. And thank you so much for coming. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Melanie.
Oh, and thank you so much, Erica. And thank you all so much for being here with us. Erica, I can't wait to see what each one of us is going to be creating. And wait, there was one more thing that kind of sparked the desire for this class. What is your target with the releases?
Oh, I know. That was... I believe that Venice, that whole trip to Venice, I wasn't there. I was here publishing a book and everything. And some of my good friends were in Venice, and they were expanding all their consciousness. And so as they started coming back into this country, they started calling me with all their ideas. And I got this thing in my head of, what if we could have 100 good news stories placed this quarter that would not otherwise have been placed if we hadn't gotten together? And so my intention with this class is we all come together. And so far, I know if you're a yes, and that's at least, I'm sure we'll have at least 2. One of my other friends emailed me, that was 4 more stories. So we're already got 6.
Well, I mean, really, Erica, from my point of view, you can have at least 50 to 100 people as a part of this program. And in that case, like what if we could be a tidal wave of consciousness? And I know that I would love to see that desire of yours come to fruition and have over 100.
As you said that, I saw all the people, if you look at the energy pulls, all the people reading the stories and them getting moved. There was a story that ran about body consciousness recently, and think of all the people that read that, and then they get interested, then they contact that. You know what I mean? It's it's a really nice. So yeah, I just got in my head let's just have more good news stories. Let's just have it.
Absolutely. And the other thing I wanted to mention here, when I saw what you're inviting people to and the incredible wealth of information and what it is that you're actually offering here, and then I looked at what you're asking people to invest in themselves, in their businesses, in their platforms, it's $297. $297. I thought, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? This I mean, your generosity is really quite amazing. I mean, for something like what you're offering here, anything under $1,000 is pretty much, a very, very generous contribution. And not only that, it says here that you're including professional assistance with at least one press release and distribution of at least one press release. So, I mean, how does it get any better than that? It's like you're taking us by the hand and you're just leading us right through it all the way to fruition. So it's not just information, but this is actually creating something and putting it out into the world.
Right.
So, wow, thank you.
And the offer basically is so that we do it. We have it. We own it. We are it. It's like, and right. And I think this did come out of, if you look at being the magic of who you truly be and who you are without trying. It's like, right. I mean, since age 3, who am I without trying?
Exactly. So to be who you are without trying, and then to blend that with getting your voice and your message out and interacting with the media, like, what a gift. And it's,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Erica. And I look forward to seeing many of you in this class, in what truly can we all create together.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Bye.